Feel that now is the time to come. If they can just step foot in the United States, they feel they will have a chance to be released into the country and get to stay here because they feel ICE isn't really, going after people other than national security threats and aggravated felons. And you touched on it before, those national security threats. So far this year, 78 people on the FBI's terror watch list arrested at our southern border. That is more than triple the last 5 years combined.
Wow, and you mentioned the border Democrat representatives that are really frustrated with the administration's handling of it. You spoke to one of the more prominent ones, Congressman Henry Cuellar. Here's a little bit of what he had to say to you.
This is our administration. I'm a Democrat. And, they need to understand they own it now. They own it now. And they have to take the steps to correct this. Otherwise, when are we going to see an end to this?
That's a fascinating answer that you got out of Henry Cuellar, because you have seen Democrats to try and temper their criticisms, but that's the outright, you break it, you own it.
Right. Yeah, no. He was very blunt and very honest during our conversation, and he told us that when this all first started, he said he called the Biden transition team in December 2020 and warned them, hey, I'm hearing there's going to be a rush on the border. The word is getting around the migrants. I think there's going to be a lot of illegal crossings. They did nothing. He said throughout this entire border crisis, he's been trying to warn them, trying to give them guidance, giving them a heads up on what's coming. They won't call him back. He says they're just ignoring him. He says they've gone in their own direction, and he feels they're focusing more on processing and releasing rather than actually trying to secure the border. He told me he wants the administration to not just deport more people, but show images of those deportations, show people getting flown back to Central America, show that there are consequences for coming to the U.S. illegally for those migrants who are out there in the world who think now is the time to come. Show them that if you show up without a legitimate asylum claim and you break our nation's laws, you're not only going back, or you're not just going back to Mexico, you're going to get flown all the way back to your country, so don't come. He says the administration's not doing that, and that's why you see the big rush on the border right now.
And that would knock down the incentive for them to come just in the time we've got left. So you're here in Washington, obviously taking the microphone to representatives here. Give us a little sense of what's coming next.
So basically, we went up to the Hill, and I don't know how you guys find your way around there, by the way. It's super complicated. We went after Ayanna Pressley, Benny Thompson, Texas Democrats, Alejandro Mayorkas at his house. We reached out to DHS over a week ago, told them we were going to be in D.C., asked for an interview. They blew us off. They didn't release his public event schedule for the week, so we went to him to try to ask him some questions on the border. A lot of the Democrats wouldn't even make eye contact with us, didn't want to talk to us. Some of them, the ones from Texas, did talk to us and express concern on the border. So those interviews, attempted interviews, I talked to Chuck Schumer as well, and the attempt at an interview with Secretary Mayorkas, we will be airing all of that on Monday. Basically a big wrap-up of what we've been doing out here this week, trying to get some answers about the border. If they're not going to go down to the border, we'll bring the border to them.
Well, Monday, must-watch TV. Bill Melugin, from the border to the nation's capital. Great work, my friend.